It is time for Political Breakfast coming to you live this morning, and the buzz continues after Election Day. Republican strategist Brian Robinson and Democratic strategist Tharon Johnson are here to continue sorting it all out for us. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's start with the Georgia Public Service Commission race. We talked a lot about that these past 2 weeks. Let's talk about outcomes. Brian, you first.
Well, it was a thumping. I don't know what else you could say it. I'm not going to sit here and spin it too much. I can give some explanation of the fundamentals that led to it. I mean, people are mad about affordability, and they got a chance to vote on one of those sectors, which is energy. And when people feel like they're getting squeezed, they won't change. And we've seen one change election in Georgia after another. We've seen it across the country, in fact, for over a decade. This is just another one in that series. What concerns me is the 26-point deficit. That just simply shouldn't happen in Georgia, period. I understand Democrats are giddy. I would be too in their shoes. It certainly gives them the ammunition that 2026 is going to be fantastic in their messaging. So I would rather be in their shoes today than in mine. But I don't think this is necessarily predictive of 2026. There are going to be other issues that are going to be top of mind for Georgia voters. But look, it does show that Democrats can win in the right environment.
There are Democrats giddy because this does translate into something good in 2026 for the party.
Well, Democrats, like many disaffected Republicans, Lisa, are just fed up. And some of these MAGA Republicans and independent Republicans and just quite frankly, scared of Trump Republicans rejected the MAGA movement. You can't underscore the fact here that we got to give some props and congratulatory messages to Dr. Alicia Thomas and Peter Hubbard. These are two candidates, Lisa, who were not flaming left radicals that the Republicans wanted you to believe. I've said time and time again on this podcast, moderate Democrats can win in this state. And let's not underestimate the ability of voters. It was a multiracial, rural and metro area group of voters who came there. And we also elected, for the first time, Lisa, a black woman statewide on the Democratic side. Now, the thing about what you're hearing from B-Rob is true. I mean, what did you expect to happen? I mean, the Republicans right now are killing the job market. Prices of gas and cost of living are just too high. People can't afford groceries. You're kicking people off health care, taking their health care away from them. You won't expand Medicaid. You won't expand subsidies. And you're basically rejecting the Supreme Court that's trying to basically overrule them for a tariff program that hasn't worked. These are all things, Lisa, that was reflective of that really 40-point swing. B-Rob says 26-point gap, but it really almost swung 50%. And then you had roughly about 1.6 million people show out and vote. But I think that when I start seeing counties like Thomas County in South Georgia, like literally at the border of South Georgia, shout out to Forsyth County, Fayette County. Lisa, these are all traditionally rural red counties where Republicans and Democrats and independents came out and voted for these PSC candidates on the Democratic side.
Yeah, Brian, with that said, GOP Chairman Josh McCoon said the outcomes, of course, were not what he hoped for. What does he do to rally the troops at this point? Does the messaging have to change?
The ball is really not in Josh's court right now. The ball is in the court of the candidates running for statewide office in 2026. The whole thing, the whole enchilada is on the line in 2026. All of these major statewide offices are open without incumbents, and then we have one Democrat incumbent in the U.S. Senate leading at the top of the ticket. So what those candidates talking about is going to drive the message. And I think that, Tharon and I were together last night at a candidate forum, and everybody was talking about affordability. And I think Republicans and Democrats, who both were talking about the issue, will approach the issue with different solutions. And I think that's going to drive a lot of the conversation over the next 6 months. And who is going to be more believable, more credible on being able to address the affordability crisis in our state? That's going to be what I think voters are listening out for. And let me tell you, Tharon and I both heard it from the candidates. They know voters want answers to the squeeze they're feeling. And it's going to be housing, it's going to be healthcare, it's going to be education, it's going to be energy.
Can we look at the Atlanta City Council president race to kind of gauge what people might be feeling? A very, very close race between two-term Atlanta City Council member Marci Collier Overstreet and Rohit Malhotra. Tharon, what were your thoughts on that race where Overstreet has declared victory?
Well, congratulations to now City Council President-elect and City Council member Marci Collier Overstreet. Lisa, this was a tough race, and you got to give a lot of credit to her campaign. I mean, it was a lot of attacks, a lot of money being spent, but Marci remained steadfast. She didn't just campaign on the south side of town. She campaigned in the east, the west, and the north. But also, look, Rohit is a name that we will hear in the future. I don't know him extremely well personally. I've met him a couple times, but you look at the money that he raised, the issues that he was able to sort of talk about. These were all issues that are important to the citizens of Atlanta. But Marci just raised enough money. She had the endorsement of the mayor, but not just the mayor. I mean, we have the endorsements of city council members like Mary Norwood up in Buckhead, and she was working very hard across the city. I think that she's going to be a good leader. The people on the council know her. They trust her. And I think it's also reflective of where the city is going. They want smart, proven leaders, and Marci was just the best candidate at this time. But we do have a lot of folks who were on the ballot, whether they won or lost, that will continue to be a bright spot for this city because they're going to all be passionate about the issues that face us every day.
Yeah, Malhotra he almost got 50% of the vote. Brian, weigh in here in terms of Republicans. Do you watch races like this very closely, and what does this say about voters? And again, messaging that's so important, messaging that played a key role in the Public Service Commission race.
I'll admit I don't pay a lot of attention between races between two Democrats.
Yeah.
But I do think we saw around the region there being an anti-incumbent sentiment. And some of these challengers, and I think Rohit would somebody I'd put in this category, are fairly far left in their approach. We saw that in Marietta, where a far left 24-year-old almost beat a longtime incumbent for the city mayor position. So we saw that in Sandy Springs, where the longtime mayor is now going into a runoff. I think that just shows that this is a moment where people are seeking change, even if that is on sort of the fringes of the political spectrum. We saw it in New York City, and I think there's just a lot of angst out there. That is my takeaway. There's a lot of angst, and the people who can speak to that, even in language that in different cycles would seem extreme, have got a chance.
Brian Robinson, Tharon Johnson, thank you so much for waking up this morning and as always, giving your perspective. We'll talk soon.